Hi everybody, welcome to our album review for Markis Precise's new project, No Wings Without Scars. This is the Classic Quest podcast, the show where we break down the classic albums throughout the history of music, track by track, giving thoughts and opinions on each song, typically sticking to the hip-hop variety.
That's right.
My name is Holden, Stephan, Roy.
I am your lady friend, Bonnie.
And today we are talking about Markis Precise's No Wing Without Scars. It's a 2020 project, making it one of the newer ones that we would have done on this this particular show. But this one comes to us as a request from the Patreon Ismail Gadamsi. So we are doing this because he requested this from us. Before we get into it, I do want to let you know that if you do support what we do, you can check out the Patreon, and that's cool. Otherwise, I make music myself. Got some tracks I put out in the last couple of months on this channel. You can follow me on Spotify if you feel what I do, etc. Links in the description of the video. On that note, we do like to start off describing our familiarity with each and every artist. So Bonnie, tell us what you know about Markis Precise before this moment.
Nothing.
Fair enough. So yeah, I came into this also without any knowledge of who he was. From what I can tell, he's a beat maker, and so that kind of makes the nature of this album just a little bit different than a lot of the ones we normally do. So effectively, Markis Precise laid down the instrumentals, contacted a series of rappers, got them to come through and contribute to the different tracks, and I believe gave them a top-level guidance on what the theme of the album was.
I think so,
all these tracks seem to follow a particular theme, but each artist's unique and particular spin on the track kind of makes it a bit more of an alive experience, but it also makes this project, I think, a little bit more hit or miss. It does do a lot of showcasing of what Markis Precise brings to the table, but end of the day, for me at least, the rapper, the contributing artist, puts such a heavy influence on the sound that it often, swung the favor in one direction or another, in my opinion. So it's definitely a different kind of project. I mean, we haven't done a lot of beat maker projects like this.
It's basically like Santana. Like, we know him for his guitar work and what he does, and if you hear anybody singing on it, it's because he invited somebody to sing on one of his songs. So it's kind of cool.
Or like what DJ Khaled wants to be, because he just also hires beat makers. But I mean, at the end of the day, I thought it was just it was a cool idea. What do you guys think though? Do you prefer this beat tape approach where like a beat maker makes an album and then invites the rappers? What are your favorite ones that you think are the freshest tapes that are worth checking out done by beat makers? Because there's a lot of beat makers that just go at it. I mean, it's such a brilliant idea for them to showcase their catalog and bring the rappers to them and get that album under their name, as opposed to just being kind of, I would argue, a little bit more hidden in the way that the role gets put onto other people's albums, where often I don't even look at the beat maker half the time unless it really stands out or it's notable, and that's probably why beat maker tags became so prevalent, so that they can get some kind of branding as well.
Oh yeah, for
anyway,
sure.
So I was just curious if you guys like them. Do you feel that it's just better to have the artists do their own thing? In general, do you feel these projects are stronger, weaker, or do you feel that they're kind of hit or miss along the way depending on your act, and you're in for a couple of good ones based on the track list? Or I don't know. I'm just curious about the overall genre of this kind of project, because it's not something we've talked about a lot here. I don't know. Do you have anything more to comment on this?
No, not really. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's pretty cool, and I like that it's, there's all this collaboration involved.
I like the cover. Kind of looks like a bird, but made up of a bunch of polygonic illustrations put together. But it makes me picture a bird flying. When I look at it, I don't know what else it's supposed to be, but it's called No Wings Without Scars, so it's all broken. It's like a broken bird, but still flying. But it's not actually a bird. It's more just the silhouette of something. So it's pretty cool to look at. It has, and then you kind of have this grayish background of the sky, like you're looking up at this. And I thought it was just really nice. I thought it was a really cool cover that was really almost symbolic of what the album's supposed to represent, as opposed to showboating or something like that. It's clean. All the text is just his logo or his name with the same font being used to put the name of the album. It was a clean, nice design.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. For me, I took away that it was just a wing. I didn't know if there was an actual bird attached to it, but a wing with these geometric shapes and kind of glass shattering kind of like at the end, like being like pulled apart and like kind of dying off and changing and kind of phoenix like a little bit maybe. And for me, it looked like it was on like a crumpled piece of paper or something like that as the background. So I thought that was kind of interesting, like it's low art or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I like. I mean, the cover is also like this dark burgundy red, so it's kind of you think of blood or like that kind of pain like a little bit as well, like being like ripped from something like a scar or like that kind of idea. So like that's just kind of what I thought about it.
Fair enough. I like the title too.
Mm-hmm.
No wings without scars. It just almost implies like you can't take flight or you can't even achieve without going through some shit. That's kind of how I took it. I feel like as we get into the album, it appears to be what a lot of other people took that message as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like that, it's almost like there is no such thing as success without having something come through and like smash you the fuck down.
Yeah, some pain.
And so I really like the poetry in that. I thought it was nice.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to say about it.
Well, let's fly you away.
So we start off with this little instrumental. What do you think about it?
I think that this is like his song, right? And it's at the very beginning, and it's just kind of like you said, it's just an instrumental. And as like Markis is like the producer and or like DJ mixer, like he's kind of like a little bit more like behind the scenes. So he's more just about like the music. So he's just kind of here showing you like what his style is, what like your the vibe you're going to like hear on the album. And there's something sort of sad about it, and yet at the same time there's like this like positive note that's like in it as well, and so I think that that's exactly it's interesting that you can pick that up, or at least I picked it up from this instrumental where there's no words, just you just have to feel. And so I think that that's kind of what we're going to be experiencing, this kind of feelings on this album. So I think that that's kind of interesting that he does that, and it's also like a nice transition into the next song. So I gave it a 4.25. I thought it was cool. A little bit boring, but and like an artsy beginning. But it's cool and it's unique.
I don't know. I really liked it. I thought in the minute it was really extremely well composed. You can feel like a depth to it, like actual instruments were used or something. Like they came in, they like played their stuff. Like you can feel that guitar just kind of slowly winding on top of it, which kind of adds like that emotional expressiveness, adds that extra little tone to it that gives you that somberness. Like it almost feels pensive, like you're looking back, and it has this like almost triumphant feel at the same time. Like when you listen to the music all blended together, like it's complete, it's full. It has this things, but it's heavy, and then you have that guitar where it almost like layers it in, and now it's like it kind of reflects almost the whole title of it. Like you are there, you've gotten to this point in time where maybe you're flying and you have your wings and you've taken flight, but you're stuck kind of reflecting on what it took to get to that place. And I thought that was like it does communicate a whole lot in the emotional sense of it all. And then it almost feels like, because of like the way it flows into the next track, like it serves as like a minute-long intro to the following track, almost like that was just how the beat was done.
Yeah.
And he cut it up so that you had the choice to skip it or not, which is something that these people rarely do in life. So I thought that was pretty nifty as well. But it was great. It takes you out of your world. It's just long enough to kind of give you a bit of a sense of a tone, move you almost like an emotional palate cleanser, but it doesn't like really go on so long that it requires more than what it is, because instantly you're brought into the next track, which starts off, and we'll get there, but in just a way that it continues from this intro before it flips into the beat proper. So I think it does a great job of starting this project. I thought it was like, you can feel the musicality, you can feel that this guy actually has like a good sense of intricate timing and how to layer things together properly, as opposed to maybe just following the conventional trends of throwing a bunch of samples together or whatnot. Like this just feels alive in its composition,
and it is like very unique. Like it is like his own, like his creation,
And I like that. I like the kind of style of it all. So I give it a 4.5. I thought it was really good.
Cool.
Anyway, Then it flows into the first proper track featuring Talib Kweli, and it's called From a Distance. Like, yeah, the instrumental on this one feels like the intro track we just heard, but kind of flipped up a bit, added a bit more life to it, some drum patterns to rap on and whatnot. And I think it's cool. Like, it feels like an extension of the last track. But what do you feel about it?
I think it does have that, continuity, and it does still have that sort of like the same feeling, like the sadness, but with like a bit of hope and positivity. And all of this came out, I just wanted to mention it because it did happen in 2020, so a lot of this is very recent, but it came out before all like the George Floyd, Black BLM, resurgence and all of that. So it's just like interesting to kind of look at it, kind of on the other side now. He's talking about, issues with racism and all of that, and and how some things seem like one thing from a distance, but up close there's more to it, and then you really see when you are looking, up close and personal, you see a little bit, deeper and more what it really truly is and what the core is. So, I think that we're looking at it from this side of things and like that perspective, and so it's just kind of interesting to kind of see that. And this is something that he's going to keep discussing and pushing for, and he wants change, and he's there to fight, and he's here for the long haul, and it's going to be basically his whole life kind of fighting, and then this is going to be what it is, because things don't change overnight, unfortunately. So it's nice, and it's more along the lines of like a slower, more pensive type of an album. Like, you're kind of just getting into it right away, and like already you kind of get that feeling. So I give it a 4.4 on 5.
Fair enough. I gotta say, Talib Kweli did some stuff in this track that disappointed me.
Oh, really?
So I know who he is. I think he's an extremely talented guy. Like, when you listen to his verse on Learn Truth with Art of Rugged Man, it's ridiculous. We have to give all respects to the man for his, like, conscious rhymes, and like his song on Lauryn Hill and shit really like hit me back in. Like, there's just, I respect the dude as an MC. I think he's a top tier talent guy, etc., etc., which is why there was a couple of bars in here and just lines where I'm like, wait a second, you're like way back. Did you phone this in, Talib Kweli? And that was honestly my feelings when I was done with this. Is it doesn't feel as good as I was expecting seeing his name on the track personally, for a couple of reasons. All right, so it starts saying From a Distance, so obviously he's pulling on this for like every line. That's fine, that trope's okay. I can tell a slave from a master, avoiding all disasters because I'd be thinking much faster. All right, so he's kind of laying out his rhyme scheme. There's From a Distance is your main, and then he's playing it up like 3 little punches flowing through. Pretty simple, it's alright. And what he's saying, okay, I can tell the difference between, who the fuck's a slave, who's a master, and kind of adding some social political commentary into the intentions and motives of the various people in the world and how they live their life, but he can recognize shit from far away because he sees the signs, etc. Super conscious. From a distance, I can see that Russia trying to hack us. And I'm already going, okay, where are you going with this, bruh? First of all, what country on earth is not trying to hack what other country on earth? It is literally modern. Like, everybody's hacking everyone. Nothing be even scary there. Fine, we're alluding to the Russian hacks and some old school media shit. Then he goes, Sarah Palin can see Russia from Alaska.
That was definitely like
what the fuck is
an
that
old
bar?
School reference. Like,
first of all, who the fuck cares about Sarah Palin?
That was like 2008.
Is she even elected still? No, I don't even think she's still. She relevant?
I think she's like the mayor of Alaska or
Does
something.
anybody know what the fuck? It's like, okay. I guess you can kind of see Russia from Alaska, maybe.
She said that.
She said that? When?
She said that.
When did she say that?
2008 or whatever the heck it was.
What kind of a bar is this?
She can see Alaska. I don't know.
And so I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just saying, like, that's not the most insightful bar. What is the relevance of bringing up Sarah Palin in this context?
It was a little off, yeah.
I'm going, what is the context? Is it because she's a Republican? A Republican from another era of Republicans? Like, she's a Republican from when the Tea Party started and shit. Like, it's just a... What is the relevance of that bar? It just feels like faux consciousness. Like when Eminem throws in a celebrity's name because it rhymes. Like, I don't get it. Maybe there's some deeper meaning I'm missing, and like Sarah Palin did some shit in the last 5 years that
nothing
counted.
that he's talking about is recent.
Anyway, from a distance, I can see the change in the horizon. All right. Back into some bars I can understand. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. You see the tide is shifting and shit. Yeah. Can you hear me now? I'm like Verizon. You kind of old, but I respect. Fair enough. It's a decent bar. I'm old enough to appreciate that. He's got to be in his 40s.
That's why he's got all these.
But that's fine. Okay. And when you see the smoke from a distance, you can see the smoke when it's rising. And I kind of like the way he goes. And from when you see the smoke, there's fire. But I'm like, you're not really saying a lot. He's saying if you pay attention, you can see there's corruption in the air.
Yeah.
That's all he's really said. But he hasn't said it with any kind of real depth. This is the shallowest shit I have ever heard this man spit in my limited experiences with his music. Everything else I've heard from him has been more profound than this. Anyway, from a distance, we fire off a shot for the resistors. Like, who? What? Participating resistance by merely existing? Okay, fine. From a distance, the enemies of freedom trying to defeat us, trying to bleed us, but freedom in the vein like intravenous. That line is just great. You see how he's popping? You see how he's laying down the rhymes? That's all right. I'm fine. Okay, so the systemic oppression of a tide of turning of evil people are coming through and they're fucking taking our freedoms away. Okay, it's super superficial and not that, like, profound, but that line alone is fucking dope, etc. From a distance, they're still trying to pick off all the leaders. Okay, now we're finally getting into some shit. Put so much distance in between us, they looking over their shoulders. I'm like, what? First of all, shoulders rhymes with nothing in this verse. He doesn't rhyme it with fucking anything. This guy just did the trying to bleed us but freedom in the veins like intravenous from a distance. They're trying to pick us off like leaders. Shoulders. Shoulders rhymed with nothing. That was a bad fucking word to use in that line, in my opinion. Especially because my main point on the next one is how good they rhyme. And we keep marching. You think about how much they flow in there, and then what the... I'm sorry, but it felt like he wrote that, and that's what he wanted to say. But rather than finding a way to make it work in the way that fit the flow of what he'd been doing...
He just threw it in anyways.
He just left it. Fine. Okay, whatever. From a distance, you can see an argument with a wise man and a fool. And you can't tell who's who, you should come a little closer. I'm like, the closer doesn't rhyme with shoulders. It just doesn't work. It doesn't rhyme. That's fine. I don't actually think all your shit has to rhyme, but he made everything up until shoulders rhyme. Everything up until that word fit into the rhyming.
He can do whatever the heck he wants.
He
right?
absolutely can.
But
and I'm certain somebody out there is going to be like, fuck you, your opinion's trash, what the fuck? Fine. I'm saying, tell me what shoulders rhymed with. I'm saying it disappointed me. Because I had a couple of parts of that verse where it felt, that Sarah Palin line's whack. It makes no sense in 2020. Anyway, and then I like the chorus a lot. Yo, and they try on me, why do they lie to me? I be all I can be, I feeling all type of free. Got soldiers to ride with me as far as the eye can. It's fine. It's dope. I like how he goes, they sealing their fate when you're dealing with race. I'm a long distance runner. That's a cool line because it shows, like, with the race wars, etc., he's in this for the long haul and he's playing on that double entendre. That's mad clever. So the chorus brings it right the fuck back up and it shows how good he is and why the fuck is shoulder that rhyme word. But I like that long distance runner line because I decided I'm going to be a long distance runner and I'm up to 8.5 kilometers. I'm going to get there, motherfuckers. I'm going to do that shit.
It's wild.
Anyway, it's actually like you go pretty fast. I don't know. You just improve if you keep
just
doing
need
it.
motivation.
Anyway, then the next verse, distance makes the heart grow fonder. That's true. That is definitely true. If you're in quarantine with your girlfriend living in your apartment, go hang out with people that are not her. Then come back and she likes you more. As the drive get longer, the butterflies in your stomach will get stronger. Fair enough, as you keep pushing, more anxieties and shit.
Yeah.
Now if I'm sweet on you, my heart will skip a beat, but if you ain't complete, then give me 50 feet. Fair enough. So if you excite him, he'll be happy to spend time with you and be excitement. Kind of like his butterflies ties into that. You get butterflies in your stomach in the same moments that your heart skips a beat. Love and shit like that. So it's cool. Back up so I can love you from a distance. I even like how you as his enemy is somebody that he's loving from a distance. Yeah. Act up, I cut you off with the scissors. What is this? See, look at that, scissors, what is this? He made that rhyme. He couldn't make shoulder rhyme with anything. We go through trouble like two lovers do. It's hard to take an L. I'm used to W's. I thought that was all cool too, because like the struggle of the situation and acknowledging the losses of life and the complications of shit that happens, especially when you're used to making it through, cutting through the madness, nothing that's new, the average day, way to civilize the base, my life on what a savage say. I thought that was cool too, because if you think about how much of the middle class mediocrity norms that are enforced upon us through the different things like school and media, it's kind of savage. The people who put that into place are savages, the way they treat the rest of the world and shit, in my opinion. I mean, they're savage. You might not agree with it, but I think bombing the shit out of everyone for the sake of oil is kind of savage. Then he said this life ain't for the weak unless it's Saturday to Saturday. I'm like, what does that mean?
Because it's like for the week.
But why Saturday to Saturday?
W-E-A-K.
But what is that? But why Saturday to Saturday? I don't get that bar. I don't get it. That made no sense to me.
Because that's like the Sabbath, right? I don't know.
It's a weird line to me. Like, okay, maybe I'm missing a point on that one. I don't want to diss it. I just don't get it. I'm like, it just feels, again, like, kind of sounds good, but when you think about it, you're like, what are you actually saying, dude, in this whole, like, thing? What is the point of your verse? And normally he has some clear, concise-ass points. Like, I like Talib Kweli. Anyway, the magistrate with the place on the real DJs have to play. You want to stay in the loop, don't you? You want people to hear the truth, don't you? Well, then come a little closer. Don't play yourself. Question the curators of the culture. So I like that part because it's kind of questioning what is pop and who distributes the music, and basically saying, come listen to me. I got the real shit over here. But, yo, check out who actually enforces stuff. Question what music is popping and what gets popularized, etc., etc. All that's real cool. And the chorus comes through. Then there's this fresh-ass musical break where I feel like Mr. Precise really flexes his beat-making shit. It's got a bit of a clappiness to it, and I really liked it. It was really enjoyable. And then, it goes back into the chorus one more time and it ends. I get it's a 4.25. The beat is really stellar, but I don't think Talib Kweli gave his best performance on this track. There's just too many things about it that popped out, that bothered me, that will bother me every time I listen to this song moving forward. Either way, there's more tracks on the album, and what do?
We keep marching.
I like this beat. This beat's fucking banging the way it comes through with that doom, 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 doom. The way it cascades the notes of the chord upwards like that just feels this triumphant march effect that comes off that just feels
They're
like...
still going.
It just feels like you're going from a distance or whatever. No, sorry. Feels like you keep marching. I forgot to update the Genius tab, so whatever. But you feel the march in it. And I feel like it's got the bit of a kind of a feel on the snares too that are pounding through, really adding that extra little effect. It's a real great beat. What do you feel about this song?
I agree with you. I think that it definitely is like a nice beat, and I found that it is like a growing beat, like more kind of gets added to it, and I thought that was like really cool. We have on this one the features are the Grouch and Eligh. I'm not sure quite how to say that.
Yeah, me neither.
So the first verse is Eligh, and he's fine. I found he was a little bit weak, but he was still pretty good. And I definitely liked the rhythm that he had, and I liked the rhythm of the chorus as well. I liked how it comes off, like the whole thing. And on the second verse, we have the Grouch, and I really liked the Grouch's flow and just like the way he speaks. And I've never heard either of these people before. So in some of his verses were when the bud blooms and blossoms, it's awesome. If the headroom is lost, then it'll cost them. His costume was nothing. His offspring brings offering and honestly keeps him chugging. Beats keep bumping. These feet stomping. Each speech reach peaks beyond it is wanting. Like, it was just like great. Like, I didn't do it justice, but like it is pretty great. Like, it just like his like style and his flow and the way he comes across, and it's cool. And basically they're both saying that they're still fighting and continuing on, and they're going to keep making music and keep rapping, and it's really important for them to do that because it's their art, and it's important for them to do something that's meaningful, and they keep on pushing through, like even if they get negative for like criticism, or I don't know, they don't get like signing album deals or whatever. Like, you know, even though there are struggles and also like their personal life as well, like the things that kind of get in the way. So it's just sort of like we keep, you know, no matter what, we find a way, basically. And it's nice. And I like the sound of the Grouch. I like that this kind of gets you to like kind of taste a few different performers. And I think that that's cool. So I give this a 4.3 on 5.
On that note, I completely agree with you. It feels like everybody on this album was tasked with talk about the struggle that got you to where you are and how you're keeping on marching. Like, I feel like it's describe your process of keeping marching and describe like that looking backness of it. And you saw that with Talib Kweli's song, you know, like you can see all the complications that are breaking me, but you know, we keep fighting, we still have a means to do it, and this is kind of brought through too. Like, I think the flows here are ridiculous, and I think the rhyming is spectacular. It's why the Talib Kweli won't bother me so much, because it just is followed up by such an excellent array of shit. Like, still marching, I still feel often, I still feel closed in like coffin. I just thought that was dope. I just thought it was like really cool, because even that line, closed in like coffin, it could be like a coffin closing in, but honestly it could be the anxiety of like a coughing anxiety, you know, attack closing you in and shit. I feel like it's just framed in such a way where it's anxious in how it starts off strong like that. Yet I'm living to the fullest canvas, painted with a passion. I turn away from bullets blasted off into distance by the haters and resistors to the change that I sing of. And I'm like, damn, he's coming through, like he feels the turbulations of life coming through him, and in spite of all that, he still feels the passion to move away from maybe the conflicts and negative environments towards the creating of the new shit that he's building towards, regardless of who's trying to keep him in this. I really love the energy that he brings through. The flow's kind of got this fast-paced, bouncing off the beat feel to it. It's kind of like he's punching at weird times, but it still fucking works. Like, it's not just your standard da 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 ba da 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 ba. Nah, he's compounding that shit, and I really enjoy it. The rocket shit away, so they say I wait aboard and anxiously depart to the skyline beyond the day I played the game since I was a kid, and this is not the same now, not the same instruments. It's vital that the levels change, and I feel like it's cool here because he's bringing over his journey, but then mixing it in with that music lingo, so it's a double entendre, trying to balance out your life and create the proper mix, but simultaneously using the music and the literal components of it. I mean, it's pretty dope. He flows through and he just keeps running through it. You get the sense of him trying to escape the circumstances of his life through music and doing what he can. I like when he goes, my vinyl weighs a ton, kind of playing on that line, my Uzi weighs a ton, and just kind of showing respect like that, but also flowing in the weight and the impact of his music kind of comes through with that same severity.
Yeah, and maybe he doesn't have an Uzi, so, you know, he's, you know, these all seem to be a little bit more like peaceful kind of guys.
I like when he's like, I spend it till the song is done, my mind is on the run, running off the lip to share the stories under gun. So I think it's cool that he adds the like severity of the weaponry in it, but it's almost like he has to create these vinyls under the threat of what happens because of guns, rather than, in a sense, creating his own weaponry out of the music. And he wants to change the world, and it's fucking cool to me, and it's fucking dope. Anyway, so overall, that verse just felt really strong. His flow is really amazing. It's up my alley. It's the kind of shit I fuck with. And I like the chorus. I think the chorus is done. I think it's Eligh, because it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
like,
I think he does the
like
chorus.
Scottish. Like, I see like that GH like that, and I'm like Eligh. Like, I say it like.
Anyway, that 1 by 1 by 2 thing was stuck in my head since the first time I heard it, and so I mean, I haven't listened to it a whole lot, but that really got stuck in my head, so it had a good hooky feel to it. So, you know, we keep marching through, we keep marching 1 by 1 by 2, and you just get this sense of almost like little ants slowly cascading into a bigger army of people uniting and globalizing, but starting off just in the sense of just marching in the micro as you build up that momentum.
Yeah.
And then the Grouch comes through, and I love the way he bounces off and has a completely different tone to it, but just fits perfectly into this track. Not a toy soldier, hold this composure, far from closure, how are to grow you? To grow me, I must be lonely. The land is desolate, let's make the best of it. Oh, this is rhyming. It's fucking great. But you have the sense that he's not fake with it. He's going through this actually emotionally hard situation where he's had to back off away from other people to kind of get a little lonely, to kind of figure out some shit, you know? The land is desolate. It's a hard place to be, the world. And I just assume in a lot of cases, a lot of people are coming from rougher environments than I do. I lost the rest of the recipe. Yes, I did. I like that because it's just cool. Like, he couldn't figure out all of it. Like, he understands that there's parts to go, and this is the rest of the recipe. That sounds so good to just say. And the idea of it, like, I know part of what I have to do, but I don't know the other part, so life got kind of fucked up. She fought aggressively against all there is. All there was the spring, summer, fall, winter brought ice that one couldn't thaw. And that's cool. It's like he met somebody, a partner of some kind, and then throughout the year it was good. But then when the cold winter came, the icy heart came, and it was over.
Yep.
And then I couldn't buy shit. I had to march through April, May, June, soon. Maybe they'll swoon, pay me for the tunes, you know. And then it's like life continues moving on, and life's complicated. He's not blossoming. Maybe the music's gonna pan out for him. Overall, it just flows on like this. Like, we have to move through it. I'm using the art to create the picture of my life. It's complicated, but we keep fucking marching. And I really love the effect of it. And if the Grouch did the chorus, oh well, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It doesn't specify on Genius, and I have no fucking idea. Either way, I felt this like step right the fuck back up, and I gave it a 4.5. Like, it just left me with this strong sense of, wow, that was powerful. That was, I think, the essence of what this album is really going for, put into a song. Anyway, that's all I gotta say about that one. The next one has some Griselda up on it, so let's talk about Heart Cold. How do you feel about this track?
Well, so we've got Conway the Machine here, and he is ready to do his thing. So get ready to like hang out with him and, you know, enjoy him for the few minutes that we're with him. You know, maybe smoke. He'll be smoking as well, and he's just kind of telling, you know, stories, basically whatever's on his mind. It seems that he's getting ready to see his friend who was in jail for the last 10 years, and, you know, just like how excited he is to see him, and how, you know, he wants to do so much for him, and, you know, support him any way that he can, and like take care of his legal fees and like things like that, and wants to like throw a party with like all his friends, and, you know, get some ladies round, and, you know, just like have like a fun good time, like, you know, for his pal who's been like, you know, in jail for the last 10 years. So you know, and he's, you know, and then we kind of move on, and then it seems like he's talking to his friend, like maybe at the party or whatever, and he's like saying like, you know, I'm not going to go back to jail, or maybe he's just like remembering a conversation when he was in jail, or like at the end, and he's like, you know, about to like get released, and maybe he was in jail visiting him, I don't know. And he doesn't want to go back to jail, and, you know, he kind of mentions that you know, the white people were like really powerful in there, and, you know, so there was like that discrimination in jail, you know, just based off of color right away. So like, you know, it was, you know, the haves versus the have-nots, like immediately, and you know, just dealing with like the real shit and real life, and, you know, that, you know, children are basically killing each other, and, you know, that there's guns, and that, you know, friends and people that you care about, you know, end up going to jail for like, you know, stupid things that they did, and you know, that there's violence constantly, and there's, you know, kind of this world that they're involved in, and there's not really any escape from it, because, you know, your brother, your friend, your aunt, your uncle, you know, like anybody can, you know, be involved in that, if that's like the area and the way that, you know, you were brought up, I guess, in like this sort of situation. So it's just sort of like the need to deal with like the real life and like what's going on and all of that, and that it has made his heart cold, and, you know, he feels like a little, I don't know, a little bit lost, and, you know, he realizes, you know, like all of this stuff has like, you know, been so hard, and having to experience like this time and time again, that, you know, you kind of stop reacting to it as heavily as you once did. Just like, you know, when you watch the news, like the first time, you know, when you watch it, you're like, oh my gosh, all these terrible things are happening, and then it just kind of becomes normal to you. So it's just kind of like that, and it just kind of, that there's a lot of evil and bad out there in the world, and that's just kind of how it is, and you have to deal with it and just keep going forward. And, you know, it's going to make things difficult for you and how you feel and how you behave as a human, but you got to keep your head up, basically. And it has a nice feeling to it at the same time, like, again, that kind of sadness with that kind of feeling of hope as well, you know, just sort of like the realities of coming from, a community where, there's danger and violence and drugs and like all of that around you so often. So I give it a 4.3. It's, on the same path as the rest of the songs.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this has more of a Griselda feel to it. Like this was like Conway was like, make sure you send me something that sounds like my record label was gonna put it out. Cause like, I love Griselda records and what they do.
But I think that's kind of like the bonus to like what he does.
Just have like one sound on fucking repeat. It has different tempos and whatnot, sort of, and slightly different flares, but it's basically like this. This is every Griselda song, and I say that with all the love because I don't think I've ever really heard one of their tracks that I thought was bad. So it was just fucking great. So I think it's cool in terms of Markis Precise's versatility to be able to give people different sounds that like fit them, will all kind of fit within the same paradigm of this project. But still, it comes in and it's got a little intro and it's like, just kind of vibe to it. Like this is meant to be more pensive. Like you can tell, like everyone was going through that emotions. The first verse is clearly just him kind of looking at this friend of his who was in jail and, like we took care of you, don't fuck it up. It's kind of in this area. And he's like, yeah, I know, I get it. And then Bonnie went on the big speech she just gave, which was great. But I mean, that's kind of what's going on this first one. Like rolling up a blunt in zone, thinking about that's coming home behind the wall. Spent the last 10 summers gone for an attempt. He hit her with his fucking chrome, and he'll be home in a second. He said, I'm coming, it's a blessing. And he just rhymes it through, and it's super tight, and it's very straightforward. And I think what's cool is how he's like, listen, this guy didn't snitch. He took his shit seriously. He, probably in some ways allowed other people to thrive and prosper by taking that hit. So they took care of him, and now everybody's set up. And I think part of it is like these moments where people got locked up and he didn't, and he got to go on and do this, and having this isolation from so many people is part of the scars that gave him wings, kind of a thing. So I thought that was really a powerful way to do it. And then in the second verse, it feels like he's just tired of shit. Like he's been fucking mad. He's just like, you ever been through some real shit? You never been through no real shit. He's talking in a general sense that he's gone through stuff, like he's literally been shot and whatnot, a cerebral palsy as a result of that fucking situation. He's gone through some stuff. So when he looks at a lot of people who are these more studio rappers, I guess a lot of people who like spit this shit in terms of what you're supposed to sound like, he's like, nah, you ain't ever been through stuff. And I think that's part of what I love about Griselda is just how blunt they are. They don't really hold back. A person came through letting the steel whip hit the back of my head, but I didn't feel shit. Lately I've been spazzing over little shit. I ain't let shit slide and trying to kill shit. Don't get it twisted with this record deal shit. I will flip, leave your whole shit filled quick. Basically, don't fuck with him. He's having a bad day, and even though he's signed and there's attention, he will fuck you up. And it's all pretty fucking laid down. Like, he's gonna go ahead and deal with stuff. He keeps his gun on him because he's got to, because the situation's fucked up. At the end of the day, he needs to cool off, so he's gonna go find some more weed and, vibe out is what I took. I like the chorus. My heart froze. The streets left the heart cold or whatever. And I thought it was just really strong. It worked really well. It felt like a bit of a blend-in track. Like, I don't think Conway also came up and gave like a top-level effort. I think Conway did he just got on, spit it, gave it, didn't think twice about it. And I liked it. I gave a 4.35 on 5. And I think, again, with the bridges, the part in between the vocals might actually be the best parts of the track when Markis Precise really takes the opportunity to flare up, add fills, and really do stuff to enhance the musical quality of it. And I don't know, it's really nice.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about you.
How'd you feel about this song?
Well, I like the construction of the beat right away. I thought it was like interesting the way it was kind of put together. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. But the first verse, so this is featuring Reuben Vincent, another person that I don't know. So the first verse is him talking about how he was involved in basically dangerous street stuff, activity, like all of that when he was young, and when he was looking around and other kids were just being kids and having fun, and he was kind of already involved in some ne'er-do-welling. And he's just kind of like telling his truth and talking about kind of what his lowest times in his life were, and like the kind of like the sad realities of what he lived through, and things that he did. And he felt a lot of pressure to make money, and to get the flashy chains, and eat well like other people, other maybe more successful people, perhaps the drug dealers, or like the bad guys in in like the area that he might be hanging out with, if he's kind of doing all these misdemeanors. So basically just trying to be better than he once was. And he wants to do this, and he's he realizes his parents did a lot for him, and so he wants to give back to them. And he's just trying to live in a way that really reflects what he learned, who he is, his morals and values, and kind of he wants to talk the talk and walk the walk at the same time. So it's good. It has a good message in it, just to kind of like, reflect on who you were and make better choices, essentially. So I give it a 4.4 on 5.
Right away, I was hit with this is fucking pop vibe. It's very clean sounding, like really like the opposite of Griselda almost. I had a lot of trouble getting into it. Like, I would not listen to stuff that sounds like this. It feels way too positive, way too uplifting almost. Like it feels like
positive.
No, but it feels like it's trying too hard to be that. Like when a girl wears too much makeup and it looks like she's trying to do hard and it completely misses the mark. That is the impact a lot of this sound has on me. It's why I don't listen to it. You don't see me talking about a lot of happy music, because it's often so disingenuous, and it just comes off super pop. Anyway, so fresh off the plane, I'm West Coast vibing, feeling like Dylan, man. I'm looking for my shining. I'm locked in, thinking about not just flexing, it was diamond, but investing, never stressing, never question, getting blessing. Look, I pray to God every day, just make me better. Gotta get your test, cause some suckers is playing checkers. And I'm like, it's so vapid. Like, it's not like, it's the equivalent of I fucked your girl, but for this kind of positivity shit. Like, it doesn't really come off feeling like anything. It just feels like dude's out there doing his thing and whatever. Gotta get your test because some suckers is playing checkers. Like, okay, that's like a line obviously saying that checkers is like an inferior game. He doesn't follow it up with what he's doing. It's just like, they suck. Like, kids with dirty bags, you should know I'm gonna F the check up. I'm like, okay, I get it, because check up and checkers, they kind of rhyme. I don't mess with squares, my brothers I don't. Oh, right, because checkers are on some square boards. But
I feel like squares is such like an 80s
and then
line.
squares
Like, don't be such a square, dude.
lame people. My brother I don't. In a spread, a moment, I'm like Shinobi watching Disney, and my boy sells Xanax and Cody. Get it? Because Zach and Cody, Xanax. It's like, it's kind of clever, but not 1,000% clever.
Okay.
It's all right. Mom, anyway, I just didn't feel like I was left with profound bars, and it's cool. Like, he's kind of like saying, I come from this environment that's really hard. I was exposed to these things, and if you ain't from the bottom, I guess you won't understand it. A star line, I'm gonna live one time for the truth, and then the cook comes in, try to live for myself, try to live for my folk, and you, and I was like, oh. Ugh, that's so gross. Like, I'm gonna go live for you. You're not living for me. Go fuck yourself. You're totally living for your peoples, maybe your community. But this vapid, like, I'm gonna live my best person, so I'm gonna live for you. Oh, okay, it's fine. I'm just being a hater right now. I just don't like that shit in music. That vapid, like, Care Bear shit. It's some Care Bear shit right there. Anyway. Put your hand in the sky if you feel it one time is true. Feel what? That you're trying to live your best life for your people?
Yeah.
I suppose. I feel you're doing that. Like, I don't know what I'm relating to. It's vapid. It doesn't have, like, are you saying, am I supposed to put my hand in the sky if I'm living my best life too? Is that what the connection point is?
Maybe.
I don't know. But I don't know that he and I are kin by any means, so I don't feel like I'm connecting to him because he deliberately ostracized me just before this by saying I can't relate to his upbringing.
Wow.
So maybe it was all of these different things. I think about stuff, all right? I can't help it when I listen to music. Look, pressure, precious, forget, pressure something. It's not precious. It was another word. Like, forget it. I gotta get up. You see my name. You then see the $sign. This word, the Kesha. Kesha stopped using the $sign, bruh. Even I know that. It's just straight S now. That $sign's the past. Don't be dropping no dated Kesha bars up on here. That's what I'm trying to say. To my brother to catch up not far from finish line, since about whatever my dollar to give me mine, brown skin shining like a Cuban link. You think it's, and it's just like, none of that really ends up hitting me. Like, try to bury me by at least 10 feet, so I'm gonna come back, honey, like Jesus sent me. Like, it's alright. It's well flowed, but it's not like great. It feels like the kind of rap song that shows up in a video game kids are gonna play.
Okay.
That was my feeling on this one. It's well done, but it is the least interesting track I've heard on this album so far. I gave it a 4.1. It just feels like it's trying so hard that there's no real substance to it. Like, by adding the shit that would have been darker, it would have made the song 2X rated for the audience or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Y'all don't have to agree with me. If you think I'm off, you can let me know in the comments. And I guess that's the difference between me and you.
It's true.
Yeah, I did it again. Another vapid fucking fluff song. It's just like, get up, get up, get up, get up. If you want it, you can have it. Fuck that. That's not how real life works. You can try for it, and maybe if you play the game right and you're willing to sacrifice enough / compromise your soul enough, you can have it.
See? It is possible.
But, like, it's not so if you want it, you can have it. That's an inherent fucking lie. It's if you want it and are willing to do what it takes, you can have it.
But that's, like, what they're saying.
I don't know. Whether it's a little or a lot, you gotta give it all you got.
You gotta give it all you got.
Where you aiming your gun, you only get one shot. That's a lie too. You get more than one shot in life. Like, that's fucked up. All your mistakes are actually opportunities created to move you forward. This is that, like, again, like PBS fucking, like,
only got one shot.
This is the most millennial shit I ever heard. This reminded me of like when I went to elementary school, there was, you can be everything. You are special. All these little fucking slogans.
But, like, why does that just, like, disappear when we become adults?
Because it was never true. Because it was lies.
I guess, maybe.
Because that's not true.
Why do we just...
Because that's a millennial thing. That's how come we got raised so entitled and special and shit, right?
Right.
But, like, I listen to this, and you may hope and you may wish, if you don't grind, it makes no diff. Said if you don't grind, it makes no diff. What don't make dollars don't make sense? First of all, if your whole grind is going to be about making money, what the fuck is that idealistic go out there and get it, if you want it you can have it shit? Nah, that's not true. If you want it, and you like it being like, I don't know, a particular life, and then if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. There is a lot of conflict between these two ideas. Right. There are many lives that you want to live, like being an integritous person, that you'll find out without shameless marketing and whoring yourself out for virality, you just don't get money. And without the money, you can't proceed to go ahead and make the content and shit. So like are you saying go ahead and do whatever makes dollars? Like, inherently, that's called selling your soul a little bit. And like I'm not sure if I'm supposed to believe in myself and put in that effort and train myself to be the best person,
right,
or if I'm supposed to just accept that I'm a whore and suck dick for dollars, because it's saying both things in that chorus right there. And that's why I hate these fluff songs. They aren't really based on real self-growth principles. They aren't really based on real life. They're based on these, it's like doing drugs. It's like watching a fucking vapid comedy and then walking out of the movie theater feeling like your life is enhanced. It's not anything. It's just doing drugs, except that it is what it is, and we can all do the drugs that we want to do.
Right.
But this is some feel-good bullshit. Anyway, as I await to another day in the city, we chase money like it's running away. It's grisly. Okay, fine. So all this is about is getting paper?
Yeah.
Like, again, like, where is the spiritual kind of you can do it feeling that we just got? Okay, rubber band banks filled with hundreds and twenties got all the gold diggers saying, give me life sucker free, dodging the fake, higher than my legal fees, another case. Of all the places I thought this track was going, it was not the most traditionally boring shit ever. And I mean, like, we make money, we've got stacks of 20s, gold diggers want to fuck us, and oh shit, we got lawyer fees because we done some dirt. Remember when I was broke and needed a break, went and got a 9-to-5 for my baby mama's sake. I quit that to spit raps, and pitch crack, my chips stacked, I'm like, alright, that's okay, but yo, you kind of want that 9-to-5 if you really want to get everything in your life. Because, like, yeah, you might, in your geographical lottery, like, if you're born in a place that has a popping rap scene, you can quit your 9-to-5 and go rap. If you're if you're in a place like
if you want to do that, and you really, like,
no,
if that's all you want to
do,
you will move. You will do what you have to do to get there. Just saying.
But that's not, like, good advice for everybody. That's often
but a lot of people,
really shitty advice.
They want to be rappers. They go to LA.
That's true.
They go
and
to
for every one of
New
these
York.
guys that pops off well enough to be on Markis Precise's album, there's probably 99 guys that fucking just failed, went to jail, and had problems that happened because of the life that they ended up having to get indulged in because they went to an environment and had no means of making money because they quit their job. Look, this shit applies in very specific circumstances. All I can tell you is, you know what's throttling Montreal's hip-hop scene more than everything else? These motherfuckers don't have jobs. So they're not self-sustainable. They're reliant on other people. They can't build entrepreneurial moves because they can't develop capital. Quitting your job is not how you become a successful rapper. As you'll come to see on the Locksmith track that we'll talk about in part 2, that ends up being more the reality. Motherfuckers sell drugs and shit to finance the operation. They're not really rappers, they're drug dealers who rap. They're not making money on rap. None of us is making money on rap. So we all need a job. Wouldn't it be smarter to find a viable career? Anyway, this is my thoughts on this. Maybe I'm coming at this from the Montreal perspective, and maybe this only applies to the Montreal perspective. But yo, when I hear rappers
sure there are places out there
bragging about quitting their job, which would have supported their child, to take a risk on something like music, it's like, nah, dog, feed your fucking kid reliably, okay? And then, when you've got that on lock, and your rap career is bringing in money, quit your job, okay?
Yep.
Like, let's be fucking grown-ups about this situation. Because honestly, this just sounds like Pipe Dream City right here. All of this is fucking whack. It's like, this isn't good advice for anybody. This is just, it worked for me. Every day, I brought my dream to fruition. You always wonder why I'm always in the kitchen every day. Dream, I brought it to fruition, homie. Okay, like, I'm glad it worked out for you, dog. It's not even jealousy like that. I'm just sad that you're putting out bad advice into the world. Like, you're not really telling other people how to become successful.
Right.
You're just saying some vapid shit like, I did it. Okay, fine. It bothered me because it's a fucking pop nice song. Whether it's a little or a lot, you got to give it all you got. I mean, yo, there's a huge difference between give like a little or a lot. There's a huge difference between a lot of factors, okay? Anyway. I grind a lot doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean I'm going to make money. In fact, a lot of people who grind in ways that don't make any money for them. And they grind and they work really, really hard. But they never actually learn how to do it right. So there's so much more to it than wishing, dreaming, and working hard. That's like the baby steps. That's like saying, I'm a nice guy. You're not getting laid saying that. Just like you're not fucking making it by grinding. Everyone's grinding. Who the fuck is not grinding, okay? For all y'all that think the majority of people are lazy, you're wrong. The majority of people are people grinding and failing. That's the reality of the situation. Everybody's got a side hustle in their 30s. Maybe they don't actively pursue it, but if I call children a side hustle. So if you add parents in, children is a side hustle. Everybody's grinding. Why is everyone failing? Oh, because it's fucking more than that. This is bullshit course. Anyway, whether it's crypto or cash, get dough that lasts. What? What? What are you saying? Cash? Crypto. I mean, I'd argue that a fucking RRSP is a great option too. could have mentioned that one. Anyway, I don't understand the point. I won't let it tiptoe by Fash and add it to my schedule every day, a different avenue for revenue. Really? I hate
He's
when
trying to have
rappers...
different money streams, right?
I hate when rappers make it sound like they get 365 rev streams a year. Like, are you kidding? No, you're not. You're not doing that. You're just not. You're exaggerating. I love my hood, but I had to get a better view. Never going back is something I will never do. That makes you an asshole. Oh, wait. No, I think I read that back. I read that incorrectly. I actually just realized he will go back. That was a double negative. So he's going to invest. I take it back.
There you go.
I hope. So he left his hood, and he's going to go back one day? I don't know. I'm Frisch Street's finest, Fresno's worst. What's the difference? I got mines out the dirt. I went from trying to find me some work to flipping through designs for the merch. That part's pretty cool, how he, like, evolved it. I went Barack on the campaign. That's why I'm on every block. I'm a brand name. Yeah, you're on every block like that. That's an exaggeration.
Yep.
You're not in Montreal.
A little bit.
Nobody, I'm pretty sure most people in Montreal have not heard of you. So you're not on every block.
Well, he is talking only American. He's talking about American politics and all of that.
I bet Vermont is not necessarily rocking you with all of that shit either. And I'm not trying to be like a shit. There's a level of hyperbole that's fly, right? Like when people say grandiose shit in a ridiculous way and it's just fresh. And then you're saying shit that's just clearly impossible, so it just comes off like you're saying it. Like if I were to be like, yo, I pack guns, I bust them nines. If I just started saying that shit, you would look at me like I'm fucking a loser because, like, it's just full of shit. It just is not organic or authentic.
Yep.
That dude, I don't know how famous he is, but I never heard of Fashawn. He might be kind of popping, but it feels a little bit more like he shouldn't be talking about he's that renowned and well-known. I don't like it personally when rappers use hyperbole to describe their own success. Like, within themselves, sure, you may be hyper fucking successful. But when you start saying shit like, I make a different rev stream every day and everybody in the city fucking heard of me, it's like, come on, dude, come on. Now you're just exaggerating. And you might argue that it's okay to exaggerate. I'd say that the way he did, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a hater on this one. But these songs annoyed me. These last two tracks did not leave me with positive feelings. They were like well-made tracks that felt like fluff pieces. Like, that's why I'm on every block. I'm a brand name. I had to hustle at the bubble, move a muscle just to make it at the jungle while I'm humble. You're humble? Does this guy sound humble to you?
Sure.
Anyway, I'm not saying he comes off that arrogant, but he comes off a little bit like he's the shit, and he doesn't come off that humble. I'm not hearing about how he's got a whole team of people who helped him up. I'm not even hearing love for the city that lifted him up. In fact, all I heard is, I go after the money that makes sense, and therefore I've created opportunities.
Didn't he say something about, like, Fresno? So maybe he's talking about, like, something.
Well, he said he's Fresno's worst, and he's from the streets, but...
Yeah, so he's repping the city.
But he's not talking about how the people allowed him to achieve success. Whereas the thank you fans for what... This shit that makes you not humble is not in this track. So, in fact, he just comes off like he's absolutely not humble. Like, you know, like, he doesn't come off proper in that regard either.
Right.
And I'm just tired of, like, I guess, and this is just maybe I'm in a mood or whatever, but so many rappers just say shit like that. And I try hard to not talk about them on this channel because I can't say with all good consciousness that that's great lyricism. It's, who the fuck, everyone can write that shit. If everyone can just be the best... And everyone can just be, like, the most well-known. And everyone can just be like, oh, I'm not humble. Like, these words all have meanings and shit. And I think if you're going to use these words, they should be truthful. And maybe Fashawn is a super humble dude in fucking real life. Maybe he really is. Maybe somebody watching is like, that guy's the best. Not in this track. This track doesn't come off humble. It's a complete flex, okay? Anyway, I gave it another 4.1. I think Markis Precise does a great job on the instrumental. And then Fashawn just brings it right the fuck down.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it sounded positive and kind of like, you know, again, kind of like on the same path that we've been on. You know, I thought the chorus was fine. Whether it's a little or a lot, you got to give it all you got. You know, be careful. And you went through all of this. Be careful with where you're aiming your gun. You only get one shot. So it just sort of, you know, like, don't let it, you know, like, slip out of your hands. Like, if you have the opportunity, go for it. Do what you have to do. You know, the first verse was basically, you know, don't stress about what other people have. just do the right thing and have faith in, in what you're doing, and just get out there and do it and perform. I mean, that's kind of like what I assumed. And, you're going to have to hustle to get where you want to be. And just basically don't waste your time to shine and be successful when you have the opportunity. So, I mean, he's in the spotlight right now. He's on this album. So, I mean, he's just trying to get himself out there. And, you can, just exactly like what you're saying. Like, you can have whatever you want. You just have to have the motivation and, kind of like have like that fire under your ass to like get you up and just doing it. So it's nice. You've got to work hard to accomplish your dreams, and no matter what stands in your way, like just keep on going and figure it out, and because you don't want it to pass you by. So I mean, I thought it was a fine song. I didn't have as much like hate on it as you did. I gave it a 4.4 on 5.
That's fine. You don't have to. I mean, I appreciate what he was trying to do, and I'm sure most people are going to hear it and feel that niceties to it, but I've also spent the last 2 to 3 years calling bullshit on these niceties that I think are fucking garbage, and this is outside of his channel and everything. It's just you read a lot of shit,
right,
and you start to see the difference between the truth and the fake messages taught to millennials to feel good. This is another millennial fluff piece.
Okay,
this is
enough.
Like some shit that is why millennials don't have savings accounts and crap, because we weren't taught to plan properly. We weren't taught to think things through. We were taught work hard and you can achieve. Yeah, history does not support that shit, okay? History supports work hard and you'll probably still fail. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. But come on, let's have some better fucking branding on the ideas so that... And why this matters is because so many people start trying. They go 3, 6 months, a year into whatever endeavor, and all of a sudden they've worked hard and they don't achieve, so they give up and never try again. Why? Because the branding is garbage. In fact, if we branded it right, we could train people to go into the 7 to 10 year grinds it actually takes for most people who achieve success in a small way, let alone a big way.
Yep.
So that's why I take beef with it, because it's just fake narratives to me. Anyway,
Fair
that's
enough.
fine. I made my point. Y'all get it. Y'all can disagree if you want. That's totally fine. This is going to be where we break it up for the first half of the album and call it the ending point of part 1. There's still another half of the project to get through. I like the rest of that. It gets better from here. So if you're worried I'm just going to shit on shit, it's not. It's going to be upwards of grades for the rest of the project. I think so far it's been nifty. And Markis is a great fucking beat maker. So don't worry about that. I feel that. It's just more the commentaries on the words put before me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know in the comments what you think. We totally appreciate all of you and look forward to seeing what you have to say. Subscribe to the channel for part 2 and more reviews. Like the video if you did. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Powell, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and yeah, that's all, because anyway, sometimes life happens and you get less patrons. If you want to become a new patron for us and help us grow, you can do that in the thing, and I don't know, we're going to reformat stuff and come at it with new ideas in the next little while. We're coming to the end of Behind That Suit season 1, which was a very long season. We'll come in for season 2 soon, so we keep rolling with these reviews. In the meantime, I make music. That's becoming a much bigger priority in my life as opportunities start unlocking. So you can check that out on this channel. I'm expecting to see more and more coming out on that front. We've also got a lot of local interviews that we're going to start doing, so expect to see more and more of those rolling out. I highly recommend you check out the interview we did with Willie Scandals. That dude's fascinating. Anyway, that's all I got to say for now. So live long and prosper, everybody.
Peace, everyone.